Radio Catskill partners with Spotlight PA to regularly bring you their in-depth journalism. In their latest article, Pennsylvania has granted $200 million to expand high-speed internet, with more funding coming soon. However, thousands of Pennsylvanians might face higher internet bills soon if a federal program that offers discounts to low-income households runs out of money next month. This will happen unless Congress provides more funding. Here to tell us more is Charlotte Keith, Spotlight PA investigative reporter. Charlotte, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
So, in your article, I wanted to go over what are some of the main effects on low income households if the Affordable Connectivity Program ends?
The main effect would be that this federal subsidy that they've been receiving would go away. And so that would basically result in their internet bill going up. For many households, that could mean they might have to downgrade their service to a slower, cheaper option. Or for some, it could mean that they end up canceling that altogether because they just can't afford it without the subsidy.
Activity right now is such a important has become such an important vital infrastructure now because of especially even before the pandemic, but really the pandemic is really as ramped things up as far as being connectivity. Folks are moving to more rural areas. So how are the rural areas particularly affected by potential end of the ACP compared to urban areas like New York City and things like that?
Internet costs in rural areas certainly tend to be higher, and that's certainly a part of it. But it's also this kind of strange time where, like he was saying, there is all of this new attention being paid to trying to get everyone broadband access. And this really unprecedented federal investment that's on the way with the federal government preparing to give states billions and billions of dollars to try to ensure universal internet access. And at the same time, this program that advocates say is really crucial for helping people afford internet is going away. And so they say that raises questions about once we use this new money to build new networks in areas that don't currently have broadband, is that going to be enough if people can't afford to subscribe to that service?
And so what steps is Pennsylvania taking to prepare for the possible end of the ACP?
There's certainly an effort in Pennsylvania and across the country from internet service providers and community groups to let people know about this so that it doesn't come as a surprise. But some people I've spoken to say it's difficult to make sure that everyone who's currently participating in the program kind of gets a proper heads up about that. And so certainly there is concern that for some people this could come as a shock when their internet bill suddenly goes up if the subsidy goes away.
Yeah. If the funding is not renewed, are there any discussions about alternative programs or solutions if ACP for ACP?
Certainly, I think it's been a popular program, and there's definitely interest in Congress. There is some bipartisan support for renewing it. And I think it seems likely there would be discussions about some kind of alternative. I think the concern that people have raised when I've asked about this is that even if there is some successor program down the road, it could be harder to sign people up for that, to convince them to trust a program like this again if they were taken by surprise or if they felt that it was a breach of trust that the ACP was there and then went away.
So, how are our internet service providers adjusting their plans to respond to this sort of possible discontinuation of the ACP?
Internet service providers are, I think, letting their customers know. And it's certainly something that, in some ways, is a benefit for internet service providers because it provides a kind of built in customer base. And experts say it also changes the economics of expanding broadband networks because it helps make it a better investment for internet service providers. And that's certainly something with the new investments that are coming. There are requirements that internet service providers will offer some kind of a low cost or affordable option. But there is still concern that without some kind of federal subsidy, even that won't be enough.
What are the latest developments now in Congress or local legislatures regarding the continuation or replacement of the ACP?
So there is an effort in Congress to essentially force a vote on the House floor. But it's my understanding is an unusual, maybe last ditch kind of legislative maneuver. And that is still taking place, but hasn't been successful yet. And certainly in state legislatures, that's something that advocates are looking to as perhaps states might be interested in acting on this if Congress doesn't. But again, it's something that there's been so much federal funding provided for this, and some people say it just could be difficult for states to match that.
Right. Charlotte, is there anything else I have not touched on you want folks to know about your article or the
Yeah, I
ACP
think one
program?
thing I would add is just a lot of people make the point that states had to do a lot of planning work to show the federal government, here's what we'll do with all this money. And a lot of states, including Pennsylvania, this program that could now be going away played a pretty big role in those planning efforts. And so people say it just raises a lot of questions. If that no longer exists, how are states going to fill that gap? How are they going to shift their plans if something they had already been counting on isn't there anymore?
We'll talk to Charlotte Keith, Spotlight investigative reporter, about the how higher internet costs could be on the way for low-income PA residents as federal subsidies run out. Thank you so much, Charlotte, for joining me on this program. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it. And you can find Spotlight PA's article at Spotlight PA, or you can find it on our website at wjffradio.org.